Oh, hi there. Welcome to Robert's Mailbox, episode number 1. This will definitely be a thing that I figure out as I go. But the general premise is kind of based on, do you know how, like, back in, I guess this was maybe in the 90s, where dads would walk out of the front door and they're in their robes and they've got like their cup of coffee and they go to the mailbox and they grab what's in the mail and they scroll through it and they pick out anything that looks interesting and they read it, right? That's probably how like most people still do physical mail, but for whatever reason, I have this picture of 90s dads that like is stuck in my head. They're wearing like a blue plaid robe and that's how they go check the mail, right? So that's kind of what the idea behind this is, right? So like this is an email inbox that I've set up like just for this purpose. And I followed some like personal brands, some e-commerce brands, and I'm going to continue adding to this. So this is basically going to be kind of like a swipe file of sorts for brands and companies that I'm interested in. So what we'll be doing on these episodes of Robert's Mailbox is we'll be coming into here and just kind of scrolling through and seeing, okay, which of these like subject lines, which of these emails stands out. And then I'll read one and we'll kind of do like a little breakdown of like what's working, what could maybe be improved, and generally like what are some lessons that we can take away from the email. So I think what's unique about this is we're kind of like doing it on the spot, right? Like I haven't planned any of this out. I am literally just winging it. So that being the case, these first couple episodes, I might be working out a little bit of kinks. So bear with me. And my hope is that, and my plan is that this will turn into something that I look forward to, that you look forward to, that you can really use to learn some lessons from and improve your email copy or whatever other copy that you are working on. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's see what we got going on. So let's go over here to primary first and see who we got emails from. And really, I'm looking at senders, but I'm also looking at subject lines. So I'm looking at which of these like stands out. What do I legitimately like want to read, right? So a lot of these are going to be welcome emails. Okay, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in this too because I'm working on a client who sells a lot of his products through a webinar. I like this because this is from Purple Mattress, and this is part of their onboarding sequence, I would imagine. So they are addressing an objection with this subject line, right? So like I signed up for their email list, I haven't bought anything, and they have pinpointed one of those objections for why I might not have bought. It's because buying a mattress is a big deal, so they're addressing that head on, and I like that. I like this. Okay, so just from a quick overview, the emails that stood out to me here are mostly emails that have a big benefit, right? So boost your brain, boost your performance, and boost your inbox. That's a benefit for me. I like that. This is not necessarily a benefit, but from a marketing perspective, I see what they're doing and I like that. And this is a benefit and curiosity thing, right? So like one of the things, or I guess two of the things that I really like to hit on in an email subject line are curiosity and benefit, right? I think I learned that from Chris Orzakowski. But the idea is like if you can show someone how something benefits them, how it helps them out, and then you can also make them a little curious about how that works, then it really is going to grab their attention and make them likely to click. So that being the case, I love Ramit's marketing, and I think this is a pretty strong subject line. So I think this is the one we'll dive into. And another reason I like this is because it uses this word systems, right? So like it's one thing to say like, here are 5 tips to grow your Instagram following, right? Okay, cool. Who cares? Like anyone can say that, right? That's not unique. But what's great about this subject line is that it uses this word systems, which sounds a little bit more formal. So like it's been something that's like tried and tested, and they've actually done a lot of things to create these systems, right? So they're a little more proven. And then it also uses this credibility booster of like $500,000 plus. So not anyone can say that. That's very strong proof. So let's jump into it and see what we have going on. So I think this is genius. Ramit does this in a lot of his emails, if not all of them. And it's super smart. And it subtly suggests that it's okay to forward these emails, right? So he's not asking you to forward this, but he's saying, hey, people forward these emails because they're that valuable. So it's just kind of like this little hint and a very like slight nudge of like, okay, well, if you think this is interesting, feel free to forward it. And if it was forwarded to you, just subscribe here. So, Robert, when I officially became an influencer with 100,000 plus Instagram followers, I was excited to see what would happen. So, from the beginning, we have a ton of credibility, right? So if you are not familiar with Ramit, then pretty immediately you know that he has something valuable to offer, right? If 100,000 plus people are following him on Instagram, he's doing something unique, interesting, or helpful. And another thing I love about this is that I think Bon Halbert says this in what's the name of the book? It's like the Halbert Copywriting Editing Tips Part 3 or something. I butchered that title, but just look up Bon Halbert. His dad was Gary Halbert. They're both incredible copywriters. Gary Halbert has been called like the greatest copywriter of all time. But anyway, one of the things that Bon says in his book is that a good way to create a cliffhanger is to use like an incomplete thought, right? So like this is a full sentence. When I officially became an influencer, I was excited to see what would happen, but it's an incomplete thought. You don't have closure at the end of this. You're kind of left hanging like, okay, well, what does happen, right? So you continue reading. Do I get invited to cooler parties? Was someone going to ring my doorbell and just hand me free stuff? Instead, I got this. So here is I guess this is his Instagram post. No, looks like a tweet. That makes me feel old, not knowing the difference immediately. Latest influencer deal I saw was from Popcorn Brand, which contacted my friend on Instagram. They wanted 2 posts on feed, 1 story, tag us every time, and we will send you a box of popcorn. Retail value, $30. Greatest thing about crossing 100,000 followers on Instagram is I get influencer partnership offers now. These deals are hilarious. Write 3 posts, 2 stories, tag us 16 times, and we'll send you 3 bottles of juice. So this really kind of lets you know who Ramit is early on. Like this is his personality, evidenced pretty clearly in these tweets. My God, the lives of influencers are even worse than I thought, myself included. So again, like he knows his audience. He knows that his audience is people who are smart, who stay up to date on trends and like influencers or whatever, but they're not swayed just by the fact that somebody has, 1 million followers on Instagram. They're smart enough to realize that a lot of social media is a facade. So he is speaking directly to those people. Years ago, I suspected this might be the case, that all these influencers posting stuff might not actually be living lives as glamorous as they portrayed. Some classic IWT style. IWT is I Will Teach. That is the name of his company, I believe. He has a company called Growth Lab, and then he has a company called IWT, I Will Teach. But basically, yeah, he has a lot of online courses about like self-improvement, money, that sort of thing. Anyway, phase 1, discovering Instagram stories in Japan. First off, you can post more than da-da-da-da-da. Okay, cool. So really, he's just telling a story here, right? And he's talking about what makes him different. So wait, people buy stuff on Instagram. Boom, here we go. So this is where it gets good. Wait, people buy stuff on Instagram? About a year later, I was just starting to get comfortable. One day I posted a random student success story and linked to the program. It sold $10,000 in one day. Instant credibility, and this hits on Actually, a little bit of context. So there's a copywriter named Kyle Milligan, and he has essentially developed this system for like analyzing copy, right? And the four big things that he hits on are new, easy, safe, and big. And for the financial copywriting field, which is where he writes, if you can show somebody that something is new, easy, safe, and big, then you are going to drastically increase the chances that they will buy. So what I really like about this is that it is making it look easy. Even though we know that it's not, when he says, I posted something to a story and it sold $10,000, like that's essentially post a story, make $10,000, right? And that makes it sound easy. So he's not guaranteeing that you're going to get that. He's not saying that this is like typical, right? He's just saying, look, this is what happened. And it really kind of hits that easy button in a way, right? So phase 3. Building a system. I realized this could become a core part of my business. Been building my own style, posting fun stuff. It's generated well over $500,000 in a single year since then. So again, like the thing that you're getting throughout this email or the things, I guess, benefit, credibility, and then it's really like kind of simplicity in a way, right? It's that easy thing. Like I'm posting on Instagram. I'm just doing like stuff that's fun for me, and I've generated $500,000 in a single year. So if you are somebody who wants to make money on the side, if you're a personal brand, you are pretty quickly seeing, consciously or unconsciously, that Instagram done well could be a viable business strategy for you, right? So once you've recognized that, it's time for him to sell you on the strategy itself. So I'm interested to see where this is going. I would imagine he's going to get into some details pretty soon. Trip, cool hotel I was at. Also, if you don't follow Ramit on Instagram, you should. He does post really cool stories, especially like of his vacations and the places he stays, and he really like analyzes it from a business perspective. It's super interesting and it's worth checking out. So that Instagram story generated over $100,000. I'm sure there are lots of other approaches to Instagram, but I've developed my own and I'm teaching it to a small group of people next month. Boom. So what I like about this and what I like about Ramit's marketing in general is that he makes promises without making them lofty or unbelievable or saying they're the best thing ever, right? So he straight up says, and this is also a really good segue, right? So he's giving you proof, and he says, I'm sure there are lots of other approaches to Instagram. He's not saying my approach is the best. He's not saying if you follow any other strategy, you're an idiot. He's just saying, look, I'm sure there are lots of approaches, but I've developed my own, and it is clearly working. It's generated $500,000 plus for me, and I'm teaching it to a small group of people next month. Small group, scarcity, next month, urgency, right? Very powerful sales tools. So I love this paragraph. It's so simple, but it's done so well. On Tuesday, April 21st and Wednesday, April 22nd, I'm hosting a private workshop on how to build your business and income on Instagram. Perfect. How to build your business on Instagram is something that is interesting, but it's vague, right? A thing that Ramit talks a lot about when it comes to copywriting is taking things from the clouds to the streets. So building your business is this amorphous concept that people don't really know what it means. But when you say building your income, that's something people can imagine pretty quickly, right? Like, okay, building my income, more money in my bank account, I want that, right? Who doesn't? So 6-figure Instagram sales, how to build your following, your business, and your income on Instagram. Love it, and I love the title of this event. Super simple, very clear benefit, right? This is a special event, separate from my upcoming earnable launch. So in case you're part of his audience and you've heard about this, then he's addressing that objection pretty quickly. Like, this is a different thing. This private workshop is laser focused on business owners who want to create and supercharge a totally new sales channel in their business and do it in a way that adds boom. And I love this phrasing here too. And it goes back to that concept of making a promise without being super in your face about it, right? So he's not saying, you will create and supercharge a totally new sales channel. He's not saying these things are guaranteed, right? He's saying it's laser focused on business owners who want these things, right? So it's like I don't know, we'll call it like a shadow benefit, right? So he's saying like these are benefits, right? Creating and supercharging a new sales channel in your business, doing it in a way that adds freedom and flexibility to your life. But he's not guaranteeing that these things will happen. He's saying that if you want these things, then this is probably worth checking out, right? Or something to that degree. Here's a taste of what we're covering in the event. Exactly how I sell high-ticket products on Instagram, including a campaign that earned over $120,000 while I was on vacation. I'll break down the actual campaign piece by piece. So, very cool. What the thing is, credibility, and really, I'm trying to figure out what I would call this. Break down the actual campaign piece by piece. I mean, that's proof in a way, but I don't know. It's taking it to the next step, right? It's one thing to say, I'll teach you how I sell high-ticket products on Instagram. But then adding this credibility is huge. And then I think this is just a really big benefit of like, because by this point, you're probably thinking like, oh, this sounds great, but like, how am I going to understand it? What's he actually going to be teaching? Well, he's telling you clearly, I'll break down this actual thing that I did piece by piece and show you how I did it and how it worked. So that's really cool. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Addressing an objection here. How to grow your income on Instagram even if you don't have a ton of followers. Perfect. And again, like benefit, but just vague enough or just not so in your face that it's unbelievable, right? He's not saying how to like 20x your income on Instagram even if you have 0 followers and you don't have a phone, right? He's saying how to grow your income on Instagram. No specific numbers there, just how to grow it even if you don't have a ton of followers, right? So you probably need some, but you don't need a ton, and that's pretty cool. So really, like these bullets are just making it a no-brainer, right? He's being very clear in what you're going to get. Instagram went from being something I posted. Very cool. So this is the journey that he went on. And if you are, the target audience or someone who'd be interested in this, this is probably this is like a journey that you want to go on, right? You want to go from posting randomly to bringing in multiple 6 figures in income just from Instagram, right? Best of all, I actually love posting on Instagram. Here are the details. Limited space, scarcity. You do not need an Instagram following to attend. Very cool. Sweet. Little call to action there. Boom. Very clear. Very clear. Oh, you will leave with the Instagram sales techniques and system I use to earn 6 figures via Instagram, mostly in my downtime. Again, that easy button, right? Personal coaching from me. This is your opportunity to get a look behind our never before seen Instagram. Okay, cool. So like that feeling of like lifting the veil, right? This is something that no one else has seen before, and you can be part of the first group to see it. Plus in-person coaching from me. If you're part of Ramit's audience, that's a really big benefit. As I said, this is a private event. If you're in a small group coaching. Okay, awesome. Very cool, and I love that. So like very clear call to action here at the end. Also, what a cool signature, Ramit. Nice. That just looks cool. Anyway, and then he ties this back to Instagram, which is awesome. So, and then, yeah. So, I Will Teach You to Be Rich is the name of his company, which is also the name of I think it was his first book, maybe. But it's the name of the most popular book anyway, as far as I understand. So, yeah, let's do a quick run through again of like kind of the big takeaways here, right? So with the subject line, curiosity, benefit, the word systems was very valuable. Being able to say $500,000+ was very valuable. This opener is very good. It establishes credibility, and it's a sentence, but it's an incomplete thought, right? It's kind of a cliffhanger. You have to keep reading to figure out, well, what did happen, right? So you keep reading because you want to figure out really like the conclusion of this statement here. Does a great job highlighting his voice. He's telling a story here, right? And he's pressing that easy button. He's saying, look, I posted a story one day and it made $10,000. Pretty cool. I built a system and let's see, main part of my business, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, an Instagram story he posted while on vacation made over $100,000. Again, easy button, simple, credibility, it works, right? Making a promise without making it over the top, right? So clearly highlighting what makes this valuable without being so in your face that it's unbelievable. Great title of the workshop. It clearly highlights the benefit and he has the credibility to be able to say that. Making it a no-brainer, showing people exactly what they get, addressing some objections that might come, pretty quickly. Let's see, what else? Yeah, again, like making a promise, showing a benefit without being so in your face that it's unbelievable. Credibility, really again, showing people exactly what they're going to get, and that's the value of these benefits. Showing people exactly what they're going to get, being very straightforward, making it a no-brainer, straight up giving you the exact details, some scarcity and urgency in there. I also really like that, and Ramit can do this because he's Ramit, and I don't know what he has on the sales page, actually. We won't get into that, but he's not really justifying this price here. And on a sales page, that's definitely something that you want to do. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of power in saying, if you have the credibility to do it, to be able to say, look, here's the price. I'll be there. Here's what you're going to get. There are no refunds, right? So he has the credibility and he's built up a big enough brand and a good enough reputation that he's able to do this, and I think that's pretty cool. I wouldn't suggest that for anyone, and I wouldn't suggest it for most people, actually, but I like that he's doing it here. I think it's pretty cool, and I think it's a very Ramit thing to do. Yeah, call to action, back to Instagram. Yeah, so overall, I think this is a great sales email. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Robert's Mailbox. I hope you found it valuable. I hope there's some takeaways for you. And if you have any questions or comments, I guess leave them below. I've never done that before, but that was pretty fun. So yeah, anyway, hope this was helpful for you. And until next time, talk to you later.